What if the best deal you just clicked on is actually the reason you'll be sleeping on an airport floor tonight, with no refund, no rebooking, and no real help at all? That sounds dramatic, I know, but stay with me. Because the dangerous truth about third-party travel sites is something most airlines quietly benefit from while travelers like you and me pay the price. And it all starts with those flashy booking screens promising massive savings, countdown timers screaming only 2 seats left, and comparison charts that make it feel like you're winning the travel game, when in reality you're stepping into a system built on hidden rules, stripped-down fare classes, and liability loopholes that almost nobody explains until it's too late. And I learned this the hard way, watching a retired couple at a crowded airport in Dallas last year. Sweet people in their late 60s who booked a non-stop bargain flight through a popular travel site. Saved about $80, felt proud of themselves. But when a storm rolled in and their flight was canceled, the airline told them calmly, "You'll need to contact the booking agency," while the agency's app crashed. The phone line had a 3-hour wait, and by the time they finally reached someone, every rebooking option had tripled in price. And suddenly, those $80 they saved turned into a $1,000 nightmare. And this is not some rare accident. This is how the system is quietly designed. Because third-party travel sites don't actually sell you the same ticket the airline would sell you directly. They sell you a modified version, often a stripped fare class that looks identical on the surface, but comes with fewer protections, fewer rights, and way more restrictions buried deep in terms nobody reads. And airlines love this setup because when something goes wrong, they can legally push responsibility onto the middleman, saying, "We didn't sell you the ticket," while the middleman hides behind automated policies and outsourced support, leaving you stuck in between like a forgotten suitcase on a conveyor belt. And here's where it gets even more unsettling. These platforms use dynamic pricing algorithms that don't just track seat availability. They track your behavior, your search history, even the time of day you browse, nudging prices up and down to pressure you into quick decisions, creating urgency that often pushes you into buying less flexible tickets without realizing it. And while airlines adjust fares to third-party sites add their own layers, sometimes masking airline promotions while promoting fares that give them higher commissions. So the cheapest option isn't always the best deal for you. It's just the most profitable one for them. And this is where fare class stripping comes into play. A practice where agencies remove certain benefits, like free changes, priority rebooking during cancellations, or even baggage allowances, then sell the ticket as if it's a standard fare. So when chaos hits, and trust me, chaos always hits eventually, whether strikes, system outages, crew shortages, you suddenly discover your ticket is basically the travel equivalent of a disposable cup, useful until the moment it's not, and then tossed aside. And airlines can legally deny you rebooking priority because passengers who booked directly are often protected first, quietly bumped to the front of the line, while third-party bookings wait in digital limbo. And you might be thinking, okay, but I've booked third-party before and it worked fine. And sure, when everything goes smoothly, it feels like a win. You get on the plane, you land no problems, but that's like saying a seatbelt isn't necessary because you've never crashed before. The real test is when things go wrong, and that's when the hidden structure of these sites reveals itself. Because most of them are not obligated to follow the same customer protection policies airlines are, especially when it comes to refunds and rebooking during irregular operations, meaning delays, cancellations, overbook, and system failures, and some even classify themselves as facilitators rather than sellers, which legally limits their responsibility. So when you demand help, they point to the airline, and the airline points right back. And suddenly, you're stuck in a customer service ping-pong match while the clock ticks and available seats disappear. And this is why so many travelers report being stranded overnight without hotels, meals, or alternative flights. Benefits that airlines often provide to direct customers, but not to third-party ones. And here's another layer most people don't know. Some agencies bulk buy cheap fare buckets months in advance, then resell them later at slightly higher prices, pocketing the difference. But these bulk fares often come with extreme restrictions. No refunds, no changes, no upgrades, and limited support. And when disruptions happen, airlines may not even see you as a normal passenger in their system, sometimes labeling your ticket as agency-controlled, meaning any modification must go through the agency, which during a crisis is usually overwhelmed, understaffed, or operating overseas call centers with rigid scripts and little authority. And I've personally sat next to travelers on delayed flights, frantically refreshing apps, watching prices jump while waiting on hold with third-party support, only to be told their fare rules don't allow rebooking at the same price, even though the airline was rebooking direct customers for free just a few gates away. And it feels unfair because it is unfair, but it's completely legal under current structures. And airlines don't exactly rush to fix it because third-party sites bring them massive volumes of customers without the cost of marketing, while also absorbing much of the customer service headache when things go south. So the system quietly benefits the big players, while everyday travelers absorb the stress and financial hits. And the worst part is how little transparency there is. Those tiny disclaimers at checkout that say changes subject to agency policy, or customer support handled by booking partner, are basically red flags disguised as fine print. And in moments of excitement, planning a trip, almost nobody stops to analyze what that really means, and third-party sites know this. They design interfaces to keep you moving forward fast. Bright colors, big savings numbers, urgency messages, all psychological triggers to prevent hesitation. Because hesitation leads to reading, and reading leads to doubt, and doubt leads to booking directly with the airline, which cuts them out of the profit chain. And while some agencies do offer decent service and even added protections for higher-tier bookings, most budget-focused options are built on volume and speed, not long-term customer care. And let's talk about refunds, because this is where many travelers feel truly betrayed when flights are canceled. Airlines often issue refunds to the original form of payment, which in third-party cases means the agency receives the money first, not you, and then you wait, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, while they process it. And in some cases, they deduct service fees that you didn't even know existed, turning a full refund into a partial one. And during the pandemic, this became painfully clear when millions of travelers waited endlessly for refunds while agencies blamed airlines and airlines blamed agencies. And many people simply gave up, which again quietly benefited the middlemen. And now, even though travel has mostly recovered, the same structural issues remain, just less talked about. Because everyone is excited to travel again and doesn't want to think about what could go wrong. But here's the truth. Seasoned travelers learn over time. Travel is unpredictable by nature, and the real value of a ticket isn't just getting you from point A to point B. It's how protected you are when the unexpected happens, and that protection is almost always stronger when you book directly with the airline, where you're in their system as a primary customer, not an agency-managed one. And I'm not saying every third-party site is evil or that you should never use them, but you should understand the trade-off you're making. You're often trading a small upfront saving for a big potential headache later. And for younger travelers on flexible schedules, that might be a risk they're willing to take. But for seniors, families, or anyone on tight itineraries, that risk can turn into a serious problem fast. And this is especially important for our Golden Age travel tips community, because comfort, security, and reliability matter more than shaving off a few dollars. And I've seen countless stories of older travelers being overwhelmed by app-only support systems, struggling to navigate automated chatbots while stressed in noisy airports, wishing they could just walk up to an airline desk and fix things directly, which is often much easier when you booked direct. And here's another sneaky detail. Some third-party bookings don't earn airline loyalty points or don't qualify for elite benefits like free seat selection or upgrades. Even though the ticket looks normal, and you only realize after the flight when your miles don't post, and when you complain, you're told your fare class wasn't eligible. Again, buried in fine print, and over time, this adds up, because frequent flyer perks can actually save you real money and hassle. From free bags to priority support lines during disruptions. Things that make travel smoother, especially as we get older. And airlines know loyalty keeps customers coming back, which is why they incentivize direct bookings with better policies and perks. But they don't always advertise how much worse the third-party experience can be, because it would upset the massive distribution network they rely on. So instead, it stays a quiet truth shared mostly in traveler forums and complaint threads, not flashy ads. And if you've ever wondered why airline websites sometimes match third-party prices now, it's because they're trying to pull customers back into direct channels by removing the price advantage agencies used to dominate with. meaning in many cases, you're no longer even saving that much by going through, just giving up protection for almost nothing. And the illusion of massive savings is often just that, an illusion created by showing basic fares without bags or flexibility. Or, compared to airline sites that default to standard fares with benefits included, so it looks cheaper side by side, even when it's not a true apples to apples comparison. And once you add baggage fees, seat selection, and other extras, the total can end up higher than booking direct, but by then, you're already committed. And this is one of the most common traps travelers fall into, thinking they scored a deal only to pay more later in piecemeal charges. And the psychology of sunk cost keeps them from backing out, because nobody likes to admit they made a bad choice. So they keep clicking through, and agencies profit again. And all of this creates a travel ecosystem where convenience and flashy pricing hide real risk. And while some travelers will always chase the lowest number on the screen, smarter travel in the long run is about value, reliability, and peace of mind, not just cost. And once you experience a major disruption booked through a third party, most people swear they'll never do it again. But unfortunately, many only learn after the hard lesson. And my goal with Golden Age Travel Tips is to help you avoid those painful experiences before they happen, to travel smarter, safer, and with less stress, especially in today's world where flights are fuller, weather events more extreme, and airline schedules tighter than ever, making disruptions more likely than in the past. And if there's one takeaway from all this, it's this: when you book travel, you're not just buying a seat. You're buying a relationship with whoever sold you that seat, and when things go wrong, that relationship determines how much help you actually get, and most of the time, the airline will take care of their direct customers first, because that's who they see as their responsibility. And that's just the reality of the industry, not a conspiracy, just business. So before clicking that tempting Book Now button on a third-party site, pause for a moment, compare the airline's direct price, check what's included, and ask yourself if saving a few dollars is worth potentially losing hours, days, or even hundreds of dollars later if something goes wrong. And as a suggestion going forward, try using third-party sites mainly as research tools to compare routes and times. Then book directly with the airline whenever possible for better protection, clearer policies, easier changes, and stronger support during disruptions. And if you do choose to book through an agency, always read the fare rules carefully. Look for flexible options, and consider travel insurance that covers cancellations and delays, especially for longer or more expensive trips, because smart planning now can save you massive stress later. And if you found this eye-opening and want more honest, behind-the-scenes travel truths that actually help you travel better, make sure to subscribe to Golden Age Travel Tips, hit the like button, and share this with someone who's planning a trip soon, because a little knowledge today can save a lot of trouble tomorrow.